Claire first noticed the sign because it seemed to appear out of nowhere. 1 second there was nothing beyond the rain. The next, a faint red glow flickered through the trees beside the road. Vacancy. That was all the sign said. No motel name. No logo. No arrow pointing toward the parking lot, just vacancy. The bulbs buzzed weakly in the rain, half of them burned out, casting uneven red light across the wet pavement. Claire slowed the car slightly. She had been driving for nearly 4 hours by then, following a back road her GPS claimed would save time. Instead, the road had narrowed deeper into the forest. The rain had become heavier, and her phone had completely lost signal almost 20 minutes earlier. The gaslight on her dashboard had been glowing steadily for the last 15 miles. So when she saw the motel tucked behind the pine trees, she pulled in without thinking too hard about it. At first glance, the place looked abandoned. 12 rooms. One long row of doors, cracked pavement shining beneath the rain, no cars, no lights inside the rooms. Only the office near the front still glowed softly. Claire parked near the entrance, but didn't get out immediately. Something about the motel bothered her. Not because it looked dangerous. Because it looked forgotten. As though the entire place had been sitting untouched for years, quietly waiting beside the road for someone to notice it again. Rain hammered against the windshield. Claire grabbed her bag and hurried toward the office. Bell rang softly above the door when she stepped inside. The man behind the counter looked up slowly from a book. He appeared to be in his late 60s, wearing reading glasses and a brown cardigan, despite the summer heat. He smiled politely. Rough night for driving. Claire nodded, brushing rainwater from her sleeves. You have any rooms available? The man looked toward the dark window behind her for a moment before answering. One left. Claire glanced toward the wall behind the desk. Every room key was hanging neatly on its hook. Rooms 1 through 12. All there. She frowned slightly. Only one. The man smiled again. Only one that's ready. Claire was too tired to question it. She signed the paper register without really reading it. The man removed a brass key from the wall. Room 8. As he handed it over, his fingers tightened around the key for just a second longer than necessary. Then he quietly said, "If someone knocks tonight, don't answer." Claire looked up. What? Storms bring travelers off the road. Then why wouldn't I answer? The man's expression barely changed. Because not everyone who knocks is still trying to get in. He let go of the key. And smiled again. Room 8 sat near the middle of the motel row. The walkway smelled faintly of wet concrete and cigarette smoke. Claire unlocked the door and stepped inside. The room looked ordinary enough. Small television. Bathroom near the back. One bed beneath a flickering lamp. Nothing strange. And yet, the room felt occupied. Not dirty. Not messy. Just recently empty. As though someone had been standing there moments before she walked in, Claire locked the door behind her, then slid the chain into place. She checked her phone again. Still no signal. The clock beside the bed read 11:14 p.m. For a while, the only sound in the room was the rain outside. Then came 3 soft knocks. Not at the door. From the wall beside the bed. Claire looked toward the neighboring room. 3 more taps echoed through the wall. Then a woman's voice whispered softly, "Hello?" Claire stood slowly. The voice came again. "Can you hear me?" "Yes," Claire answered carefully. A pause followed. Then the woman quietly said, "Don't trust the man in the office." Claire felt something tighten in her stomach. "Who are you?" No response. Instead, the television suddenly turned on by itself. Static filled the screen. Claire jumped backward. For just a moment, the static cleared, and Claire saw the motel parking lot outside, but not as it looked now. Cars filled every parking space. Old cars, station wagons, rusted trucks, a police cruiser from another decade. People stood outside the motel rooms in the rain, all of them facing room 8. Then the television went black again. Claire grabbed the remote and shut it off completely. From the wall, the woman whispered, "You shouldn't have signed the register." Claire moved toward the front door. The chain was still locked. She looked through the peephole. The parking lot outside was empty again. Then someone knocked softly at her door. 3 slow taps. Claire backed away. The voice outside belonged to the old man from the office. "Miss." She stayed silent. "Just checking that the room is comfortable." Claire didn't move. For several seconds, the man remained outside her door. Then his voice changed slightly. Not enough to sound unnatural. Just enough to sound colder. "You signed your name, Claire?" Her breath caught in her throat. The doorknob slowly turned once, then stopped against the lock. The man sighed quietly from the hallway. People always think the lock matters. Then his footsteps moved away. Claire immediately grabbed the motel phone beside the bed. No dial tone, only static. Then the woman's voice returned through the receiver. "Do not leave after midnight." Claire dropped the phone. The digital clock changed beside the bed. 11:59 p.m. Then midnight arrived, and every motel room door outside opened at the exact same moment. Claire saw it through the curtains. One by one, figures stepped into the rain. A businessman holding a suitcase. A woman in an old yellow dress. A little boy wearing pajamas. An elderly couple. A police officer, all of them soaking wet. All of them facing room 8. Claire covered her mouth. The phone rang again. She answered immediately. The woman in room 9 spoke quickly now. "They're waiting to see if you run." Claire whispered. "Who are they?" "Guests." "What guests?" "The ones who stayed." Claire felt her chest tighten. "What happens if I stay?" The woman hesitated before answering. "You become part of the motel?" Outside, the figures slowly began walking toward her room. Not fast, not slow. Together. Claire backed toward the bathroom. Then the bathroom door creaked open by itself. The mirror inside had fogged over. Words slowly appeared across the glass. "Room 8 is ready." Claire stumbled backward. Outside, the figures stopped just short of her door. The rain passed directly through them, not around them. Through them. The little boy slowly raised one arm and pointed toward the office. Claire followed his finger. The old man stood inside the office window watching her, smiling. Then the woman from room 9 whispered from somewhere very close behind Claire, "Close the curtains." Claire spun around. Nobody stood there, but the voice felt close enough to touch. "Close them now." Claire pulled the curtains shut just as something struck the window hard enough to shake the room. Then another impact, and another. Soon the entire motel room filled with knocking. The walls, the windows, the ceiling, even beneath the floor. Claire crouched beside the bed, covering her ears. The television flickered back on. The motel register filled the screen. Claire's name appeared near the bottom of the page, but above it were hundreds of other names written in faded ink. Beside every name, the same word. Stayed. The dates stretched back decades. 1954, 1955, 1956, 1957, 1958. Claire stared at the screen, then whispered toward the wall. "Who are you?" The woman answered softly. "My name is Anna." Claire swallowed hard. "Was?" Silence lingered for a moment. Then Anna quietly said, "I stopped here during a storm in 1986. Claire closed her eyes. "I thought if I warned enough people," Anna continued, "someone would leave before the motel noticed." Claire slowly looked toward the wall. Did anyone escape? The knocking outside stopped instantly. Complete silence filled the room. Then Anna whispered, "One." Claire felt cold all over. "Who?" The man in the office. Claire's eyes widened. The old man had once been trapped there too, but somehow he became part of the motel instead. The television flickered again. Now it showed the office. The old man stood behind the counter holding the motel register. Behind him, every room key hook was empty, except one. Room 8. Then the old man slowly looked into the camera, directly at Claire, and mouthed 2 words. "Your turn." The chain lock on Claire's door suddenly rattled loose, the deadbolt unlocked by itself, and the motel room door slowly drifted open. Outside, the rain had stopped completely. The parking lot was full now. Every old car from the television footage sat parked beneath the flickering lights, and every guest stood beside one, watching, waiting. The old man slowly stepped out of the office carrying the register beneath one arm. Claire backed deeper into the room. Anna whispered urgently, "He can't take you unless you answer him." The old man stopped just outside the doorway. His smile had disappeared. "Claire," he said softly. She stayed silent. "You look tired." Claire pressed both hands over her mouth. "You want to go home?" Her eyes filled with tears. "I can help with that." Then his voice changed. Soft now? Warm. Familiar. Her mother's voice. "Claire, honey, it's okay." Claire nearly broke. Her mother had been dead for 9 years. "Just answer me," the voice whispered gently. "I'll take you home." Claire looked past him, at the guests standing silently in the parking lot, and suddenly she understood. They were not waiting for her to stay. They were waiting for him to leave. The motel always needed someone behind the desk. Someone to hand over the keys. Someone to bring in the next traveler. Room 8 was never a room. It was a replacement. Anna whispered one final warning through the wall. Run when the rain starts again. For a moment, everything stood perfectly still. Then thunder cracked overhead. Rain exploded across the parking lot once more. The old man looked upward sharply, and Claire ran. She pushed past him and sprinted toward her car. None of the guests stopped her. Some stepped aside. Some pointed silently toward the road. Behind her, the old man screamed. Not like a human being. Like something wearing one. Claire threw herself into the driver's seat and turned the key. Nothing. The old man moved toward her through the rain impossibly fast. Claire tried again. Still nothing. Then she looked toward the motel sign. Vacancy? The flickering letters suddenly changed. No vacancy. The engine roared to life. Claire slammed the car into reverse and sped toward the road. In the rearview mirror, the motel lights slowly shut off one by one. Room 1, Room 2, Room 3, until only Room 9 remained glowing softly in the rain. A woman stood behind the curtain watching her leave. Anna. She lifted one hand slowly. Then the motel disappeared into the storm behind her. Claire reached a gas station just after sunrise. When she tried to explain what happened, the clerk only stared at her. There's no motel on that road, he said. Claire didn't argue. She filled the tank, drove home, and never took another back road again. But sometimes, during heavy storms, her phone suddenly loses signal. The road ahead grows darker, and somewhere beyond the trees, a faint red sign flickers softly in the rain. Vacancy? Only now, there's one more key hanging behind the office desk. Room 9. And some nights, if the rain is heavy enough, travelers say they hear a woman whispering softly through the motel walls, "Don't sign the register."